Sounds Hello, hello to our amazing audience and friends here at Wake Up and Dream. And we dove in last week with the topic of symptoms of the lack of persistence. Sarah and I have been kind of struggling with this a little bit, and we were laughing on the last episode and just kind of hitting a couple of these. There's 16 in the book of Think and Grow Rich in the persistence chapter. And we're just kind of in this, I don't know, holding zone, Sarah, just kind of like life is great. It's amazing. We're, working through all the things and enjoying our summer, but we just kind of feel this lack of maybe motivation or desire, or where is life going to pull us next? What are we working towards, right? What is going to challenge us? And so we were kind of just going through this list, and the very last one caught my eye as we finished recording the last episode. So we wanted to kind of keep it going a little bit, because if you're listening and you've been with us for a while, we're all about goals and accomplishing things and doing things for you, not just as a mom or a wife or a friend or sister, like for you, what excites you, what brings you joy. But some things, when we start to dive into those things and do things for ourselves, we feel stuck, lack of motivation, lack of desire. But one thing that we haven't really hit on a whole lot when we are going through our goals, maybe we want to jump into entrepreneurship, or start a side business, or write a book. But we have that fear of criticism. What are people going to think? What are they going to say? What are they going to do if I fail? What if it doesn't work out? What will, we worry so much about the criticism and what people will think. And that's a really hard thing to get through. But I feel like in the self-growth and work that I've done over the past several years now, it's really diving in and knowing you. Because I feel like when you don't know yourself and what God has truly made you to be, with your purpose and your abilities and your gifts, when you don't know who you are, you do tend to reach out to others for them to show you how smart you are, or how beautiful you are, or you can't wait for someone to tell you what a good mom you are, because you don't have that confidence in yourself. And so doing the work to really tap into who you are, and know just the ins and outs. That's why the three of us have used so many tools with our business coach and intuition coaches and Enneagram coaches to really get quiet and know who we are. And that's why Sarah and I were dying laughing when we were going through this list of lack of persistence, because we know ourselves. We don't criticize ourselves and get down on ourselves, but we know who we are. And now it's just like, okay, that is a trait that I have. How do I fix it? How do I move past it? How do I better myself because of that? Because I do procrastinate, or because I do lack knowledge, then I, stop myself in my tracks of moving towards a goal. But knowing who you are, right, Sarah, and what goals you want to accomplish, then I don't think the criticism of failure and worrying about what people think is on the forefront. Because I remember being so fearful when I started my Zaya activewear business, that I was just so scared of what people think, and what if I don't make any money, and what if it's just one of these network marketing deals, and but I tapped into who I was, and I had so much fun doing it. I don't know if you ladies.
And now the fear of like pivoting in business, where like, because now it's like we've explored things, and now we want to pivot. Well, what are people going to think about, at the pivot? Like, oh, here she goes again, which is a fear that's irrational that I come across, But I wanted to say, Kelly, actually, that the fear of criticism being number 16, there's actually an entire section in this book in chapter 15 just on the fear of criticism. And one of the things that just jumped out about why we need to address this is, I'm going to read this sentence from that section. The fear of criticism robs people of their initiative, destroys their power of imagination, limits their individuality, takes away their self-reliance, and does them damage in 100 other ways. And when you look at that, you think it's just fear of criticism. I don't want to post today, but it leads to so many different things, none of which are serving you. I feel like that's like the thing.
Can you say those again? Because I just I'm soaking them all in.
Yeah. So the fear of criticism robs people of their initiative, destroys their power of imagination, limits their individuality, takes away their self-reliance, and does them damage in 100 other ways. So
wow.
It just, yeah, I mean, you think it's like, oh, I don't want to post because I don't know what people are going to think of me. But that one line, it's runs so deep and can damage, does you damage in so many different ways just by having those beliefs that are not serving you. Right. There's so many things impacted by that. And I feel like, the number 16 just scratches the surface. There's a couple paragraphs just on criticism in this book that will really open your eyes to why this needs to be addressed. And I am saying that directly to myself because I know that I am actually feeling this a lot right now. And it's like, I need to address this so that I can be persistent in accomplishing these goals. And until I get through this, it's going to be hard to do that because of all of these things that the fear of criticism is actually bringing up.
Wow. I read a book and it was a while back. I'd have to dig it out of my archives, but the title of the book is so captivating. And it's what people think of you is none of your business. And yep. I'm like, if we really embrace that, we would be different people. Like we would be fearless, right? Because the fear of what other people think holds us in captivity. It holds us. And it actually, in my own journey, I feel like not knowing who I was. I mean, I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm finally coming to have a peace with just who I am, right? And not, I don't know, Enneagram 2s, 9s. I think that people pleaser bone is just, it's in a lot of us women. Like we want our families to appreciate us. We want our husbands to, see the good that we've done. And we're naturally nurturers. And so it's natural for us to think of everyone else's needs and wants and desires and forget our own kind of thing. But in that, I think I know for me, I can think of instances where, no one maybe knew, but in my mind, I was saying to myself, wow, she complimented me on, how I played the piano. So I must be doing good. And that would feed my ego or feed my, confidence, self-worth, but it was fleeting because then the next Sunday, I would look for someone to say the same thing, right? Because it didn't hold water. It just went through sand and it was gone. And when I started realizing and doing this inner work of who am I? What am I good at? And being true to myself and going, you know what? It's okay if I make a mistake. It's okay if people don't even like the tune I'm singing. It's okay because it's not what I'm doing it for, right? When you come back and you're like, okay, I'm at peace with God and me, that's when I think we really step into our authentic self. And then the fears just kind of dissipate.
I totally agree with that, Lisa, because I feel like once you do step into yourself and knowing your confidence and your gifts, you're not singing it for other people, you're singing it for God and the gift that he gave you. And that goes for any gift that we have. I just think too, also tapping into that, I have become more confident sharing my infertility story. And we actually met a couple that is actually the realtor of the house just here in our neighborhood. And we ran into them and we went out for dinner, my husband and I with them, and hit it off. And something just told me to start telling my story about the infertility. And she has the same exact story. They have one, and it's the secondary unexplained infertility. And we just hit it off. And I said things that comforted her and vice versa. And it was just so freeing to not worry about what she might have said if I shared my story or if I didn't, or, if I was going to hurt her feelings or make her feel uncomfortable. I think when you come from a genuine place, whether you're posting on social media, Sara, right? Singing at your church or having a lunch date with a friend, sharing from the heart and what you know and your personal experiences, people are going to be receptive to that. If you're trying to be, salesy and all these things, then the criticism is going to hurt because you're not coming from a good place. You're, that's not who you are. If you know who you are and anything you do and the gift that you have that you're sharing with others, I think that takes away even what are people going to say? What are they going to think? It's not even an issue. It's not an issue when you come from the heart, from the right place.
Yeah. And with doing these things without fear of judgment. And it's funny because I feel like I actually say often to people as I'm talking, and I think we said it either the beginning of this episode or last episode where we're like, this is a judge-free zone. We were saying it out of a place of just being aware and just being kind to ourselves for recognizing that some of these things were at play, but not judging ourselves because of that. And I feel like that is super key. I feel like I come to people without judging all the time. But then when I'm looking at things that I'm doing, I'm automatically assuming I'm being judged from all these different angles. And am I really? And if I am being judged, does it matter? Does it carry any weight? It doesn't, and it shouldn't. But I put these I don't know. I just make up all of these things, and it's the fear of criticism that's at play here. And it really doesn't serve me or or you or anybody else to look at it in that way. I actually want to go through that section. The fear of criticism section in chapter 15 it's only 2 or 3 paragraphs, but I feel like my persistence will thrive if I actually just tackle that one thing, to be honest, because I do have some ideas, but I feel like I'm not taking action because I'm scared. I have these irrational fears that are holding me back. And it's why I have gifts to give. I have things to share. Why am I silencing myself for for absolutely no reason?
Sara, this is so good for our listeners because of this reason. What you just said right there is gold, because one, awareness, to become aware, you had to sit with your own thoughts, analyze, and then I would encourage you and our listeners, if this is you, write down those ugly thoughts that you're having, those fears, those, irrational, they're yours. Just own them, right? Don't beat yourself up about them, but get them down on paper and look at them. Get them out of your head and onto a piece of paper. They're no longer in your head. That's so key. And then ask yourself, is that true? Is that true? And you're going to find out that a lot of what's holding us back isn't even true. And so when we think about it logically, we're like, this isn't even true. Why am I allowing this to stop me from pursuing what is really important to me? And then you write the opposite. You write the opposite of that falsehood. And that's what you hang on your bathroom mirror. That's what you put in a voice recording to yourself and play on the alarms of, 9, noon, 3, 6, and 9. Those are the things. So think about it. You can even burn that piece of paper that you write the lie on if you want to make it, even more tangibly real for your brain. That is so important because the world is waiting for you to step into your greatness. So step in, wake up, and start dreaming and living the life that you want. Until next time, we're so grateful for each and every one of you. So wake up and keep dreaming.